When Joe Biden leaves on January 20th and Donald Trump gets inaugurated, heads to the White House for the first day, I think this is what it's going to look like.
Oh my God. He's shit everywhere. There's shit everywhere! Damn it! My house is full of shit! He's shit everywhere! There's shit on the windows!
Hunter Biden, America's crackhead, has been pardoned. What do y'all think about that?
Well, I mean, I think he deserves it. He's been through a lot. He really has. I mean, the right has it's completely ridiculous what they've tried to demonize him.
God, if somebody's clicking on the show for the first time, they just turned it off. They're like, oh, I thought these were conservative dudes.
Point, counterpoint.
John Bird, welcome. Tony Gump, welcome.
Well.
And for those of you that listen to us on the radio, I know it was out today. We had some things going on. We were shooting a TV commercial. I'm going to be on TV.
Ooh, TV
I
star.
don't think I've ever been on TV, except for, and this is a little Andrew McLean trivia here, when I got married to my first wife, I proposed to her in 2003. I was fresh out of high school.
Wow.
And I did it on the Rick and Bubba show.
That's right.
At the Turkey Toss in Huntsville, Alabama. And it was on whatever channel it was, like Turner South or something. I remember they were like, are you sure you want to do it? Because I just asked them on the spot. And they were like, okay, if you say so. Speedy was like, how old are you? I'm like, 18. He's like, are you sure you want to do this? And then 12 years later, I actually met my soulmate the second time around. So it all worked out.
You should have done it on the show, the Rick and Bubba show.
Yeah.
I don't think they were doing turkey toss then.
No. I assumed that's probably what sabotaged the first one, so I didn't want to do that again. But Hunter Biden gets a pardon. Most of y'all know this by now. It's something, I mean, we all suspected it, right? Mm-hmm. We all knew it was coming.
We knew it.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden is just trying to do what he can for his... I mean, presidents pardon people on their way out. Some are honorable, some are less honorable. This is probably in the less honorable category based on what Joe Biden has said. But I was thinking about when Joe Biden leaves office and Donald Trump walks into the White House, what does it look like? Actually, I think we've got footage of what it's going to look like when Joe Biden leaves on January 20th and Donald Trump gets inaugurated, heads to the White House for the first day. I think this is what it's going to look like.
Oh my God. He's shit everywhere. There's shit everywhere! Damn it! My house is full of shit! He's shit everywhere! There's shit on the windows!
Oh my God.
That is what it's going to look like on day one. You're going to bring the cleaning crew because there's going to be poop everywhere.
He'll probably already have the cleaning crew ready.
One of these are some of the easier moments in radio and in podcasting when something happens that the other side claimed was never going to happen. Like, for instance, his pardon. Mm-hmm. Joe Biden told us over and over and over again that he was not going to pardon Hunter Biden. He trusts the justice system. He really had to because the justice system was going after his political opponent, and he wanted his political opponent prosecuted. Mm-hmm. So he couldn't demean or diminish the Department of Justice and the prosecutors and everybody else. But that was then, and this is now. One of the easiest things it is to do in radio is to just simply get the receipts. Go back and take what people have said and show how it has aged like a glass of milk in the burning hot sunlight.
Yeah, and the left is really good about just ignoring it.
And they just
want to
address
it.
Yeah. It just never happened.
Yeah, it's like, if I don't look at it, it didn't happen.
They're oblivious to their hypocrisy. One of the best examples, Jen Psaki, who really stuck up for Joe Biden and this whole pardon deal, claiming it's never going to happen. And Jen Psaki was a press secretary at that time, or at one time. She goes on her TV show. I want you to watch this. She goes on her TV show at MSNBC. This was just a day or two after Joe Biden's latest, I'm not going to pardon my son. Listen to her explanation.
I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
I can't emphasize enough from knowing him how hard that second half must have been for him to say. I mean, Joe Biden is a person who answers his phone every time any of his grandchildren call, anytime, doesn't matter what's going on. He does the things your grandparents do. When they pretend you drop money on the floor just so you have $20 in your pocket and they say, did you drop something?
And they sniff your hair.
He's deeply in love with his wife. I mean,
Drop a
deeply.
little crack.
His family, with all the pain and anguish that surrounded it, is his heart. But Joe Biden's character as a public servant is what drove him to make clear that the law applies to everyone. His decision not to pardon his son is not an expression of restraint or removal in any way from what his son has gone through and is continuing to go through, but of principle. Because the justice system that convicted his only surviving son is the same justice system he's vowed to protect. And if that doesn't tell you who Joe Biden is, I don't really know what does.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's good. So this is her saying that this shows Joe Biden's character.
Exactly. I was thinking about that when she said that.
He will always put country over family. And at the end of the day, I know that seems kind of, I don't know, it seems like something that's impossible to do if we were in a position where our only son was about to get thrown in jail, but we had the opportunity to just stop it. There's probably a lot of us that may stop it. If you put Joe Biden in a position, or you're in a position where you've only got, you got 10 years max left on this planet. Mm-hmm. And do you want to spend those last few years visiting your son through a plexiglass or whatever in a prison at a visiting center? Or do you just want to say, you know what, I'm going to wipe it clean? Now, of course, that doesn't teach your son a lesson.
Exactly. And it's not like Hunter Biden is in his 20s.
Right. He's
had all this time to straighten it out.
He's a lifelong F-up, much like his dad. So
I can guarantee if my son had a laptop that had all that stuff in there, I'd leave him in jail and be like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'd probably be like, listen, I can't associate with you because, I'm your dad. I love you. But after what I saw on that laptop, no way. But people on the left aren't taking it well because they had bought in. And this is a bizarre concept to me. They have the liberals in this country have switched into this mindset and this mentality that some politicians, all of a sudden tell the truth. And that's never been a thing. Like, we have always been on the train of thought that politicians lie. They pad their pockets. They screw over the American people.
Yep.
We used to all believe that all of them did that. It was just a standard talking point in basic conversation that any person would have.
It was like, which one was the worst? And
right.
That was the one you wanted to
you
avoid.
just gauge them. And so there was some turning point where the left, all of a sudden, it's like somebody flipped a switch and they're like, oh, well, yeah, politicians lie, but mine don't. Mine actually tell the truth. And so even though Joe Biden's got this long history of telling lies from, where he went to school or what his grades were to all these different things, they thought he was telling the truth about this. And again, you think about basic, family matters in a dad and a son situation. 99% of the time, the dad's probably going to get the son out of the situation. Mm-hmm. But they believed it. Jon Stewart on his show last night, I got to admit, we're not the same politically, but Jon Stewart is actually funny, and a lot of it comes from his mannerisms and everything else. But the way he breaks stuff down, and he will highlight the left's hypocrisy, I think is what makes his show so good. And I don't watch his show, I just see clips of it, but the clips I always see are pretty good. This is him last night talking about the pardon itself.
Faith in the rule of law. Finally. Democrats have a moral perch. from which they can judge without shame, hypocrisy, or nuance.
Breaking news, President Biden has issued a pardon for his son Hunter Biden.
We were so close. But you know what? Get fine. It's good. It's right. It's his right. He's an 82-year-old man. Doesn't want to spend the rest of his life visiting his son in prison. Republicans get away with this shit all the time. I'm sure the pardon is a narrowly written, precisely drawn farewell note of compassion for a loved one.
The pardon sweeping, covering offenses that Hunter Biden, quote, has committed or may have committed or taken part in over the past 11 years.
Oh, my God. That's great.
Man.
Yeah, the expressions. Man.
Yeah.
11 years is a very specific and not rounded amount of time. So, Hunter, I'll give you a pardon. Well, a few years, 5 years, 10 years. It needs to be 11. And if you would be so kind, make sure this upcoming New Year's Eve is also covered.
That's actually funny.
Yes, it is.
Shit's going to get crazy. I didn't know pardons could cover crimes you may have committed. I'm surprised Biden didn't include the phrase on Earth 1 or any of the Earths in the multiverse.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And here's the thing: YouTube's probably going to cut that out. I just thought about that, but all the other platforms are going to see it. That's funny. Jon Stewart's show, at least the clips that I see, are actually pretty funny. I'm a fan, even though I don't agree with his politics. He's got that comedic vibe. He's got that delivery. That's what he's got. He's so good at it.
And the thing is, the liberals, it's become so obvious you can't hide it.
Yeah,
and he's probably thinking, I can't let this go. I've got to do it.
Right. He does a good job about calling out his own people. And so basically, if you didn't see that clip, what he's saying is it was crazy because he had been told that Joe Biden's not going to pardon him. He pardons him, but hey, maybe it's okay. Maybe it's just a farewell letter of compassion for a loved one who you don't want to see in prison. And maybe it's just for, the 1 or 2 crimes. And they're like, nope, 11 years.
11 years.
Back to, okay, so Joe Biden puts the pardon out, and he said this is a pardon for any crime that Hunter's currently being prosecuted for, and any crimes that he possibly committed going back to January 1st, 2014. Okay, crimes that have not been brought up or not been brought up in court, or he's currently being charged. He just says 11 years.
Yeah. Why not round it off? A dozen, nobody would think about it. They would not like it. 15, they were like, gosh, this is crazy. But 11, warning bells.
Maybe even a baker's dozen, just because it's at least got a catchphrase attached to it. Give me a baker's dozen. Give me 13 years. But he said 11. And now 2014, what happened in 2014?
And everybody's going to be looking.
Burisma.
Joe Biden was vice president. You had the son of a bitch. They fired him, the Ukrainian prosecutor. You also had the U.S. taking control over the biolabs in Ukraine as well. There were so many different factors going on, and it all ties back to the Biden corruption. So this pardon is not just Hunter Biden. This pardon is for also Joe Biden as well, because he's implicated in all that stuff. And so maybe he needs to pardon himself, which is not a good look, because
Can you do that?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But the problem is what we've been told up until this point is no one is above the law. Have you ever heard that? We've got a montage here. No one is above the law. Listen.
The idea that no person is above the law is a bedrock principle of American justice.
No man is above the law, no matter what the crime.
And I agree with you. No man is above the law, and no person is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one's above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
He has to be held accountable. He's not above the law.
No one's above the law. Either that nor any other title puts you above the rule of law.
No one is truly above the law.
That is what it means to have a rule of law. That is what it means to not have a king.
They're not above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
Everyone will be treated, as Merrick Garland has said, as equally.
Well, that no one is above the law, which is foundational.
No one is above the law, even a former president.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone. No one is above the law.
The law is the law, and no one should be above it.
Yes, nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one else is above the law, including a president.
Nobody is above the law. You can't have two justice systems in America. It has to be one justice system. And anybody who breaks the law should be held accountable.
And that no one is above the law.
No one is above the law, and our president is not above the law.
I always thought that this country, that no one was above the law, especially the president.
But that only counts when it's Trump, by the way. So now that doesn't matter. Joe Biden, he can pardon
That didn't
himself.
happen. That didn't happen. To the left, that didn't happen. Where'd you get that? AI. Now they got stuff they can blame on AI.
That's true. They could just say, oh, that's AI. I never said that. Do you ever notice? I didn't notice it until then, and they were like zooming in on stuff. Jake Tapper has a serious lisp. Have you ever noticed that? Jake Tapper from CNN. I feel like there's a lot of people in media, TV and radio in particular, that have a lisp. Is there a reason for that? Do you have a lisp?
No,
you've got a little kind of something going on, don't you?
Absolutely not. How dare you?
I feel like you've got some sort of...
No, I pronounce very clearly.
Yeah.
Especially when I do my radio voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have a... Do I?
Well, there's a lot of people, I notice, radio people, TV people, that... I've just noticed it, and I can't help but think, like, is this something where people were like, hey, let me see if I can...
Overcome
the lisp. That's what I'm trying to say.
So you're saying that I have a lisp. I have a speech impediment.
No, I'm not saying that.
Which devalues me even more in my eyes.
No.
No.
What if that's why you got fired, because of a lisp? Was it started coming out over air?
You're there. I'm not. What did you hear?
I didn't hear anything. I don't know. Joe Cumulus maybe heard your lisp.
Do you think some people develop lisps because of too many drugs? Kind of like people that stutter sometimes or something like that?
I think so. It's the brain trying to, I can't quite keep up. Now, what you're talking about probably is I have two things, dry eye syndrome and dry mouth syndrome.
Maybe it's the dry mouth.
Therefore, yeah, I mean, actually.
Can we Google real quick what causes lisps? Lisp.
Now, check this out. You see how much better it is?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
Thank you.
I just did a lisp myself. with a
Freudian slip.
All right. A lisp is a speech impediment that occurs when someone incorrectly produces the sounds S and Z. There are many possible causes, including tongue placement. The tongue may be positioned incorrectly and move in an incorrect way. This can be due to learning the sounds incorrectly as a child, or from tongue tie or tongue thrust. The old tongue thrust, huh?
I use that for something else. What? What the hell?
John Verge used to do tongue thrust back in the day. That's why he's got a lisp. Jaw alignment. Problems with jaw alignment can cause a lisp. Dental issues, overbites, narrow dental arches, or gaps in the teeth can alter airflow and make it difficult to pronounce sounds. But you said you've got the best teeth in your family, so it's not a teeth deal.
No, it's not a teeth deal.
Genetics, neurological conditions, hearing loss, anxiety or stress, by the way, making the list.
Well, that could be because I'm not really anxious, so I'm talking very clearly.
That and that has nothing to do with anything. I was just generally curious how a lisp happens, and we better quit talking about it, or I'm going to acquire a lisp. Back to Hunter Biden, though. People are being put in a position where they can, as you said, no longer hide it. They just can't. And some on the left are like, you know what, F it, I'm going to just come out and lay it out straight, because there's just no way in media on the left, like, we don't have this problem. We can come out and be straight up with everybody, and if we're wrong about something, we say we're wrong.
Right.
But we're usually right, okay? On the left, you're always wrong, but they have mastered the art of taking their wrong and repackaging it into something that is right. It's just what they do. It's what they do best. This one's a hard one to repackage. So some that are normally on the left or left of center are coming out and they're like, this ain't right, dog. This ain't right. Stephen A. Smith, for example, he was on with Chris Cuomo on News Nation.
Spaceman Stephen.
Spaceman. He's an astronaut now. Now that Joe Biden has lied to him, he has changed careers and he's an astronaut. Listen to what he says about the pardon.
What's your take on the pardon?
You know, the Biden situation disgusted me in terms of the pardon only from this standpoint, Chris. Nobody on the planet, you want to be a cynic and you want to act like you would be offended by something like that if you're one of those people out there, fine. But no one within reason would have a problem with him saying, it's my son. I love him. There's no way I'm sending him to jail. And I have the power to avoid it. Nobody would blame him for that. But that's not where he went. So I didn't have a problem to answer your question directly with the decision that he made to pardon his son. Boo-Boo the Fool knew he was going to do that. I don't care who he stood in front of or sat in front of and said that he wasn't going to pardon his son and he was just going to go by the letter of the law. Please, everybody and their grandmother knew he was going to pardon his son. But to come out and to start talking about how it's been a witch hunt and the Department of Justice and others were after him, or whoever it was, and the GOP rather was after him. Well, wait a minute. What have y'all been doing with Donald Trump all of these years? Now, you can make an argument about the legitimacy of the cases against Donald Trump compared to what wasn't legitimate, et cetera. That's not the point. The point is it was clearly politicized. You had folks on the left who were hell-bent on going after Donald Trump because they were determined to make sure that he couldn't run for re-election or that these elements would get in the way of him possibly winning re-election. And now we know why more than ever, because they weren't confident they would ever be able to beat.
I understand this is important, all the stuff he's saying, but can we watch Stephen A.'s eyebrows? Watch how often they go up and down. Okay, I'm not trying to distract you from the content of this, but just watch the eyebrows.
He'd been a Republican nominee since 2016. He beat Hillary Clinton with the Electoral College vote. He wouldn't concede defeat in 2020, but he did receive over 74 million votes at that particular moment of time. And then you fast forward 4 years later, despite the 34 felony convictions, the 2
calm down now,
the bevy of crimes that he had been accused of. The Republican voters out there, the conservative voters out there, and a lot of independents from various communities said, he's the guy we want, and I've said it on many, many occasions. It wasn't about him. Just like it wasn't about Biden in 2020, it was more against Trump. In this particular instance, it was an indictment against the Biden administration, what had been going on for the last 4 years. Some of the things going on with the border, obviously inflation, of course, crime.
So we get it. And I just railroaded that thing with the eyebrows. He calmed down after I said that.
What did he say?
They were just going up and down. See, I don't know. I don't know what he said now. He says Joe Biden is a buffoon for lying to the people are buffoons for believing it. Now, more on the Stephen A. Smith front, he brings up another point that I hadn't thought of. Now, this would be a very fascinating scenario. Stephen A. Smith says that Joe Biden, if he's trying to do the right thing, that he should pardon Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump currently has the 34 felony counts against him out of New York. That Joe Biden, as one of his last moves before he leaves office, he should pardon Donald Trump.
You know what else Biden should do? And I know people are going to get upset about this, but just think about it before you go crazy on me. Not you, everybody else. If I were he, I would pardon Trump. I
You
would
know
pardon
something?
Trump.
Eyebrows.
Honestly,
I would say
honestly,
this
as
has gotta
crazy as
stop.
this sounds, Chris,
I'd pardon.
Chris, that's exactly what I would do. That's exactly what I would do. Enough's enough. You know what? You're the Democrats. You lost the election. You got your butt whipped. You couldn't prevent him from going back to the White House. More than a dozen cases have been dropped against him. The cases that have been ruled against him, he's going to appeal, and he'll probably get off from having to deal with all of that. It's time to move forward. You want to get at Trump? Sit back and judge what he does. Guess what? You got a midterm election in 2 years. Are you going to be ready if you're the Democratic Party? You should be. You know, he's going to be the presidency for 4 years. You're going to be able to judge every single act that he does. March forward, move forward. You know, Gerald Ford could have let Nixon suffer. You know, to say he didn't let that happen. Why? Because it was for the good of the country. The whole hanging Chads issue in 2000 between George W. Bush and Al Gore. Gore could have dragged it on. He didn't. It was for the better of the country. And a lot of times these folks speak about this stuff, but they don't do what they say they're going to do and what they implore others to do, which is where the disgust elevates exponentially for Washington, D.C., because we know they're full of it most of the time. And today was the latest example of that.
Okay, so that's an interesting point. All right. Joe Biden, as one of his last acts in office, pardons Donald Trump, confirms to us that he and Jill did vote for Trump as one last FU to the Democrat Party and one last FU to Kamala Harris. That would be, and let's make sure we keep in context that Joe Biden and his family are awful people. They are. Joe Biden's awful. Hunter's awful. Everybody's awful. Like, they're just, it's still the Biden crime family. And we would still like to see those people brought to justice. But the pardon would be like icing on the cake.
That would be huge.
Oh, that'd be, because he doesn't need it. He doesn't need it from Joe Biden, but this is simply for symbolism from Joe to the Democrat Party that screwed him over and then squandered almost $2 billion.
Yeah, but I don't think he would. I don't think he would do that because he's all about his legacy at this point. That would be the last thing he's remembered for, and the left would absolutely eviscerate him.
Well, some on the left are actually suggesting this as well. Joe Manchin from West Virginia. He's on his way out, so he doesn't have anything else to lose either. But he was stopped in the hallway on CNN. Listen to what he says about it.
As a father, I don't know of a father that wouldn't have done the same thing. What I would have done differently, and my recommendation as a counsel would have been, why don't you go ahead and pardon Donald Trump for all his charges and make it, it had gone down a lot more balanced, if you will. I'm just saying, wipe them out.
What do you think this does for his legacy?
I don't know. From that standpoint, it makes it difficult.
It makes it difficult. Just pardon Trump, okay? And by the way, Joe Manchin is officially an independent. He left the Democrat Party because it was getting too wacky, but he's been a Democrat his whole life. He's one of these old school Democrats. And I think people understand this now, but when it comes to the parties, everything's just shifted to the left. The right has shifted to the left. The middle has shifted to the left, and then the left has shifted to the far left.
Yeah.
But the right shifting to the left is not necessarily a bad thing. It has allowed the tent to expand. It has been able to say, if you want to be gay, be gay. If you want to get married, get gay married. If you want to, whatever you do. It's more of a pro-freedom party in the sense of, if you're not hurting anybody, you do what you want to do.
Right.
I mean, even on the abortion issue, and everybody's got different opinions about that, if it's right or wrong, or some of it's right and some of it's wrong, whatever. Even the Republican Party now has figured out a way to say, y'all decide. Y'all decide what you want to do on that front. Let each state decide. And that actually provides everybody in the country an opportunity, if they believe in abortion, to go get an abortion. There's always going to be a place. There's always going to be a state. There's a nearby state, not just like you got to go from Georgia to California.
Right.
There's always going to be somewhere that's reasonable to get to if you want to get an abortion. So that's what's done wonders for the Republican Party, and that is all accredited to Donald Trump. Because if it wasn't for Donald Trump, we'd still have the John McCain's, we'd have the Mitt Romney's, we'd have the Mike Pence's. of the world going up and losing race after race, and then we'd just be in a commie hellhole because Democrats would win every time. So, let's see. Who else on the left was losing their ish over this? Chuck Todd. You know Chuck Todd? What was the show he used to do? Was it Face the Nation? Deface the Nation, as Trump says?
Yes.
I don't remember. He was on one of the Sunday shows, and I think he quit.
Yeah, he quit Fox and went to NBC or something like that.
Yeah, whatever he's doing. I think he does a little podcast too. Everybody does a podcast, but people that were on TV, when they start their own podcast, they're essentially just recording them doing a Zoom with somebody, and it's got their little name in the corner like you do on the Zoom meetings. Chuck Todd was talking about the Hunter Biden deal, and this is a guy that defended the 51 intelligence agents saying that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation that covered for the Bidens. Now, all of a sudden, he's coming out and he's saying, oh, yeah, man, this Hunter stuff, it's really, really bad. Watch what he says. He talks about Haley Biden's, is it her diary or is it Ashley Biden's diary? Anyway, the what the family has gone through at the hands of Hunter Biden because he is such an awful person.
Mm-hmm. I followed the Hunter Biden trial very closely. Mm-hmm. I read every transcript, all the testimony, because that's what all that was made public. And there is you want to get angry, just as somebody in just all these mixed emotions. You read the Haley Biden transcript. And that's Bo's widow.
Yes.
And essentially he turned her into a crack addict. And this was all happening in 2017, 2018. And Joe and Joe Biden were so concerned about their family that they decided to run for president.
Yep.
So when you talk about the word selfish, it's almost like the word doesn't, their decision to run for president put the entire Democratic Party and the United States of America in the position that it's in now.
See, what they're the most upset about is that they've just completely wrecked the Democrat Party, Joe Biden, and what they've done. It is fascinating to know that Joe Biden ran for president because he thought maybe it'd fix his family. But when you look at what happened in that short time that Kamala was the nominee, that was a money laundering scheme. That's all that was.
Exactly.
Yeah. All they did was they raised almost $2 billion and they just squandered it. Some of these consultants from the campaign became millionaires overnight. They were everybody was it was a big pile of money in the middle of the room, and everybody came in and just tried to scoop up as much as they could. Like those, what's the game, the little cash grab thing, it's at the tube and it blows the dollars up and you got to grab. That's what the Kamala campaign was. And when you pay Al Sharpton $500,000 to do an interview with you, when you pay, how much did she pay Oprah? Was it $5 million?
$2.5.
$2.5 million just to do an interview. When Oprah could have easily said, "No, I'll do it for you for free because I want you to be president."
It's not like she needs the money.
Megan Thee Stallion. Who was the other artist that she brought up?
Yeah, Megan got 5. Beyonce got, I think it was 20.
Beyonce got something crazy, and she spoke for 4 minutes. They had Eminem up there. They had all these different people, and
it was all about money.
Even Al Sharpton got $500K.
Yeah, it was just a big money grab, and it's very reminiscent of Ukraine, by the way, in the sense of being a money laundering scheme, and I don't know if they'd convinced themselves that, hey, Donald Trump is so unpopular, we don't have to get too serious about this. Like, we can easily win it. Maybe they were banking on the fact that we wouldn't be able to stop the fraud, and it would just kind of be a repeat of 2020. But the Republican Party, the RNC in particular, Laura Trump and others, Michael Watley, they put their money where their mouth is, and they took the money. The same money that Kamala Harris was handing off to Oprah and Al Sharpton, the RNC's version of it, they took that money and they put it into localities. They put it into polling places. They put it into poll watchers. And they put it into lawsuits to stop these random ballot drop boxes and everything else. And even though there was some of that still went on, Otherwise, I mean, Kamala Harris got 74 million votes. Okay.
Yeah, right.
And they're still counting.
And they're still counting. Donald Trump is ultimately going to end up with 77 million votes, which blows other records. When you wipe out 2020, blows out other records out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump has now surpassed Barack Obama's popular vote from 2008 twice. He's done it twice in 4 years. And so it still happened. There was still a fraud going on, but, you know, it was too big to rig. That's essentially what we did.
Yep.
And to think about the collusion with the Biden family and the media and covering the Hunter Biden laptop and how it was just this big, basically just big book of evidence to say, here's all the crimes. It's an open and shut case. Remember when Donald Trump went on 60 Minutes with Leslie Stahl and he brought it up? But this was leading up to the 2020 election, and he brought it up, and she's like, "Oh, Mr. Trump, we can't talk about that. That's not true. We can't verify." It was already verified by the New York Times or New York Post and everything else. Look at it. And recall that when they did this interview, Donald Trump knew that they were going to edit it, selectively edit it. So he had one of his guys out on the side recording it on a phone. So once the interview was over, they took what they posted, what 60 Minutes posted, and then filled in the gaps with the cell phone footage so you could see the entire conversation.
You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie.
You know what you told me a long time ago when I asked why you keep saying fake with the media?
Yeah.
You said to me, I say that because I need to discredit you so that when you say negative things about me, no one will believe you.
I don't have to discredit you.
And that's what
you've
told
discredited
me.
yourself.
You told me that.
Leslie, you've discredited yourself. When you say that you're not going to cover Biden, you're going to ask him what flavor ice cream he has, okay?
That's not
Instead
me.
of why did Hunter get $3.5 million from Moscow? Instead of why is an energy company paying your son $183,000 a month or whatever they're paying him, and he has no experience in energy. You know, you discredit yourself. I don't have to discredit you.
So this story about Hunter and his laptop, some repair shop found it. The source is Steve Bannon and Rudy Giuliani.
I don't know anything about that. I just know it's a laptop, and they haven't.
And you're making this one of the hottest, most important issues in your rallies.
It's a very important issue to find out whether or not a man's corrupt who's running for president, who's accepted money from China and from Ukraine and from Russia.
All these
I think
things
that's
have
an
been
important issue.
investigated and
It's incredible the way you can try and say this and sit there and look me in the eye and say it. He accepted money, his family, from Russia, from Ukraine, from China, and from other places. His brother, who didn't have experience, became a big builder in Iraq without experience. Take a look at what's going on, Leslie. And then you say how that shouldn't be discussed.
I'm saying
it's the biggest scandal out there, Leslie, and you don't cover it.
because it can't be verified.
You want to talk
I'm
about
telling you.
insignificant things.
I'm telling you.
Of course it can be verified. Excuse me, they found the laptop. Leslie,
It can't
Leslie.
be verified.
What can't be verified?
The laptop.
Why do you say
the laptop can't be verified?
Joke.
And I have to believe that these people knew that it was real. I mean, that the laptop was real. You know, within the Democrat circles, they were all like, oh, my God, this is not good. They found Hunter Biden's laptop. What do we do? Well, let's get our intelligence agents to say that it's fake. And then the country will just brush it off. And maybe a lot of them did. I don't know. I've seen a lot of hoaxes stick, but I've also seen some that didn't stick so much. And I don't know that the Hunter Biden hoax was ever. I don't know that they ever convinced a large portion of the population that laptop wasn't real. I think the tactic they took is just hiding it in general. Because if you recall, social media, Facebook, Twitter, they would not let you post anything about it. Yep. They would even. And one of the most shocking parts of that moment is the New York Post put the article out. They banned the New York Post Twitter account and told them they had to remove the story or the link to that story or they wasn't going to allow them on Twitter. New York Post is the oldest media outlet in the country. When you, whoever, would take that article and try to send it to someone in a private message, Twitter would block it. Facebook would block it. You couldn't even share it privately, much less post it on your page. And so they did a good job of hiding it, I guess. But it was true. It was all true. Donald Trump knew it was true. We knew it was true. All the evidence. Do you know, Tony, that Marco Polo company that put together the big book that's got all of the laptop stuff in it? Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I've seen that.
We got to get a copy of that. It's
I just
probably
remember within a few days I saw enough to be like, that's for real.
Yeah. You know? And that book's probably pretty pornographic as well. But I'm thinking, what a good coffee table book that would be.
Yeah.
You know, Hunter Biden's laptop right there on the coffee table, just in time for Christmas. You know, family comes over. Oh, what's this? This is a cool book.
Well, I would say you'd have to tone it down a little bit because there was quite a bit on there I wouldn't want everybody seeing.
That's true. Here's a side-by-side of Joe Biden and Hunter Biden while Hunter Biden is smoking crack and Joe talking about back in 94 what we should do with crack addicts.
If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, 1/4 of $1, we passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice. Under our forfeiture statutes, the government can, take everything you own. Everything from your car to your house, your bank account, not merely what they confiscate in terms of the dollars from the transaction that you've just got caught engaging in. They can take everything. I don't care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society. They are in jail, away from my mother, your husband, our families. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street.
Boy, how things change.
Man.
Joe Biden was a real champion of stopping crime back in the day. And now he's pardoning, people with gun charges and crack habits.
This would have been good for the segment, isn't it ironic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it ironic? Anyway, I just don't think the left is dealing well with everything that's going on. And listen, if they can just if people on the left can just get past this mental health crisis that they're dealing with, maybe within a year or two they'll understand, hey, maybe things aren't so bad. Maybe Donald Trump's not Hitler. Maybe, I've gotten a raise or I've gotten a better job and, I'm actually able to buy a home and all these other things start happening. And they're like, you know what? Maybe I was lied to. Maybe Joe Biden pardoning Hunter after telling everybody that he wasn't, maybe that starts clicking for some people on the left. But there are people out there that are just not going to get it. Like the women that are now sterilizing themselves. Have you heard of those?
Yeah.
We had what was the first one? The shaving the head, which is like, listen, if you are the type of person that is going to shave your head over politics so nobody will want to do you, I gotta think that nobody's wanting to do you in the first place. You're just virtue signaling.
I always thought it was ironic they'd shave their heads, but they were against Nazis and,
right?
To me, that was just
doing a skinhead deal.
But you're not a real liberal unless you shave your head and get sterilized, okay?
And to shave your head when you don't even shave your armpits. Like, what's going on here?
We're in France or something.
Here's some footage of women that are calling to make appointments to get themselves sterilized over Donald Trump winning the election.
This is an emergency. Please call 911. Jen, how can I help you?
Hi, I'd like to schedule an appointment with Dr.
And are you the subscriber for this coverage?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what's this appointment for?
A consultation.
TDS.
For sterilization.
Yeah.
All Alrighty, I have you scheduled.
If you own a uterus and you live in America, it is the time to start seriously seeking sterilization. If you are done having kids, if you never want kids, if you're not on birth control, I don't care if your partner has a vasectomy, like, it's still imperative that you seek protection for your body. And in my opinion, like, birth control is not enough. And at this point, you need to get it done, and you need to seek it and get on a waiting list and go to whatever doctor you need to go to make it happen now before it's illegal. And, like, it's a non-negotiable if you are serious about, like, not having kids. America is no longer America is no longer a safe place to have a child.
Oh my God.
It is no longer a safe place to be pregnant or become a mother. It is no longer a place that we have reproductive freedoms. And I cannot stress enough how much relief that I have because I got my tubes out like 3 years ago.
You're not the only one.
I have no kids.
Yeah.
And it was one of the hardest things I had to fight for over a decade. And I really feel like it is one of the only things bringing me any kind of sense of peace after the news that we have this morning.
So...
oh, God.
She's talking about mothers and children not being safe in America anymore after all the crime we've seen over the past 4 years, how it's exploded, how there's sex trafficking and all these other things going on. And she's like, oh, now it's not safe.
Just listening to her and watching her talk is birth control enough for me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just 5 minutes in a room with her,
Lord.
and most of us are going to be out
Could
of
you
there.
imagine waking up next to that every morning and get the trash out like, okay, you know.
Go recycle the trash. You're causing global warming.
Now we're getting struck for that.
Yeah, that wasn't good. Hey, what do y'all think about this? I've been really contemplating reaching out to a guy by the name of Roll Tide Willie in order to get him on the show.
I think it's a great idea.
You know Roll Tide Willie.
Yeah, especially with the situation with Bama now showing up in the top 12. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get in, but you know, everybody's saying it's all about legacy and getting eyes watching the TV and money.
Well, and they've got stuff to promote, like they sell merchandise and stuff like that. So
right,
don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. Blitz, Bama, Blitz.
No, Roll Tide Willie sounds like a segment from your radio show.
It does. It seems like it'd be on the wheel of segments. Actually, they put a tweet out yesterday, and it says, as Antonio Brown would say, Cracker of the Day award goes to Roll Tide Willie, grabbing hot coals barehanded. All right.
That's a man.
This is a man. Look at this right here. This is Roll Tide Willie with an open fire.
Keep getting back on the fire.
Oh, what?
That don't burn your foot, Willie? Calm that down.
Flavor.
That's hot.
Oh, my God. He's a beast. Roll Tide Willie.
So that's Roll Tide Willie.
That's him.
All right.
You can actually, if you'll click their profile, just click that, and let's scroll through there and see what he's got. We can look at keep going. Oh man, it looks like he's up in the skybox.
Check him out there.
Let's see if we can find the one where he was pissed that Alabama lost to, what does that say? Alabama is the last weekend to see Roll Tide. Okay, keep going. Landing in LA. Keep going. Man, that guy's living his best life.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, here you go. So this is when
this one?
Yeah, this is when Alabama lost to Oklahoma, 2 weeks ago. He was not happy whatsoever.
Somebody needs to do something. Don't know how to win a ball game. Go, can y'all win a damn game? Don't know how to talk sweet. Don't know how to triple arms. All y'all know is 2 day plays. Up the middle and pass. Ain't neither one of them working. Get the hell out of Tuscaloosa.
You gone?
I'm gone.
Don't go, Willie. Come back, Willie. Willie.
That's funny.
That guy's a character, man.
Oh my gosh.
I'd love to have him. I'm not going to tell him I'm a Tennessee fan until they get here. And for me, it doesn't matter. I mean, we'll just talk about Alabama with him. But he's a very interesting guy.
Was he acting at all with the drunkenness, or you think it's all legit?
Nah, it's all legit.
He's who he is.
Yeah,
I think
he's a lot like John Bird. Do you understand how many times people have asked me, "Is John Bird really like that?" And I'm like what? And the way he is on the radio, and I'm like,
that's who I am. Take it or leave it. Yeah, take it or leave it.
Exactly who
Same
he
could
is.
go for you, Andrew. You're exactly the same, just a little louder on the radio. That's all.
Yeah, I get a little amped up on the radio, but
and don't forget, we got a gift from Tommy. I don't want to say his last name, but Tommy went to the election party, and I met him and his wife, and he's a listener. And
is this it right here?
Yeah, he gave us that right there.
Oh, Tommy, you're the man.
And I've opened it, but Andrew and John have not seen it.
Lovely
yet.
bag. Is that what he got us?
All right, I'm gonna let you open it, John Bird. All right, and show it to the crowd. This is for all three of us.
Yeah, each one of us got something.
Oh, nice. All right, go ahead. What do we have here?
Does it have our name on it, or can I just reach
Has your name on it? Yeah, I think they all might be identical. I'm not sure. Okay. I just kind of looked at mine and put it back in the bag.
This says Merry
No.
Christmas.
Oh, I was going to say we don't have
Drew
him.
Mullane.
All right. Yeah, just slide it over to me.
And this says Merry Christmas, Angry Carrie.
Wait, does it?
No.
Does it really say that?
No.
Oh.
Merry Christmas, Tony Gump.
There must have been one in there. I didn't
Just
see.
listen. Just use Angry Carries. It's fine.
Okay.
He'll be here tomorrow.
I'm checking.
All right. So what do we got? Is this a Christmas ornament? Oh, hold up. I can't see mine. Do I tear it? How do I open it?
Yep. You just tear it.
Here we go. What do we got, John Bird?
Nice.
I like this packaging, by the way.
Make America great again, baby.
Oh,
yeah.
man. Oh, look at that. It's got Donald Trump on it. Here you go.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Woo!
Oh, yeah.
That is awesome.
It is awesome, man.
That is really
Tony,
cool.
thank you, brother.
Thanks, buddy. Tommy.
Tommy.
Thank you, Tony.
I'd say his last name, but I don't know if that would be right.
He probably don't care. But yes, we greatly appreciate it. And what's interesting is I have, should we put a Christmas tree in here?
That's what I was thinking. Maybe put it right here, a little one.
Yeah, a little small guy, just to add to the Christmas season. We've got 2 trees, or we may have 3 or probably 8.
Good man.
So the one that's in my main sitting room where I watch TV and all that. Mm-hmm. That's the one that's got all the sentimental ornaments on it. From things we've done, places we've gone, things from my mamaw and, whatever, from your first Christmas, all the sentimental stuff. This one is going to go on my sentimental tree.
That's awesome.
And mainly because Trish will only let me put random ornaments on that one. She won't let me, she's got a professional one up front.
Right.
It's just the lights and maybe
Show
a little
off.
bit of, it's all got to match.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think we have maybe 5 or 6 trees, all different little sizes. None that are huge, but they're all boxed up. None of them are natural, of course.
I've got 7.
Oh, so you might? Do you really? No. Richard Dixon does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
How many's he got?
12, something like that. And what he'll do is every day he'll post one.
Yeah. So you've got a small one that we could that you could get from Amy to bring to the studio.
There's a variety of them that are smaller than your average, Christmas tree, just for different parts, I guess.
Interesting. Okay, so we gotta get out of here. I've just got a couple things that I need to address. Well, I guess I don't need to address it. I guess I need advice on what to do at the Christmas party. And I know you're not involved in it. Mm-hmm. I know you're not going to be there. But what am I supposed to do? I found out today Del Jackson's not going to be there. So I was like, maybe I can rip his segment off the 10 with him. But what do I do? I don't know what to do.
Just do an 11 with Andrew or something.
Is there a number that rhymes with Andrew?
708. No.
Well, the 11's for Hunter, because you got to be specific on how many years.
Yeah. But what do y'all think? I mean,
well, maybe get Richard to help you write a monologue, and you can do a little comedy thing up there.
See, Dixon, he right off the top, he already had his thing. He's got like 5 people he's bringing from outside the station to do his whole deal. I don't know that Leland's got anything he's doing. I thought maybe he and I can team up and do something together.
He usually has something with AJ.
AJ's got something with him and the Chum Father. And AJ may not even be there. You know, his baby's on the way.
Right.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I wonder if they'll just let me be a host or something. I can come out at the beginning and be like, welcome to the show, everybody.
Yeah, probably. Something like that would be easier on you.
AJ said we should do the One Chip Challenge, but I have to do it on stage, the hot stuff. But I'm so well trained at that now. I don't know that that's going to be.
Yeah, didn't
valuable.
Dixon write that whole play a couple years back or whatever?
2 of them.
Yeah, that was impressive.
That was really good.
It was. I thought it was really good.
Because the last one was about you, or was the last one about me?
No, last one was about you.
Yeah, Charlie Brown.
Right.
And the first one about you was good. It was actually really funny. Classic.
Yeah.
Classic stuff. That's a good one. All right, final words, ladies and gentlemen, as we do each and every podcast. Tony, go.
All right, final words are if you're going to do crack and lots of drugs and stuff, don't put it on a laptop and take it to a repair shop and leave it. Odds are it's not a good idea, and don't do that stuff to begin with. It's very bad for you. Make sure to get plenty of water, meet sunlight, and sleep for a good life, and stay happy, and looking forward to Christmas, honestly.
Water, meat, sunlight, sleep, no crack. That's Tony Gump's final words.
That's right.
And now for John Bird.
Okay, visited my family last week. And it's something that I needed reminding of, which no matter what, your family is so important. No matter what you're going through, it always can make you feel good, unless you're arguing with your family, and that would really suck. But and remember what Christmas really is all about, because you get, with me being unemployed, I was freaking out about getting presents for everybody and all this and that. And my dad said, let me, my present is to let me give you something. And that really, it really got me thinking what's really important. And I think that's what's helped me deal with oh my gosh, where am I going to get the money? Where am I going to get the money? And it's just, trusting that. So that's mine.
That was, and I know how much that's going to be a concern of yours, because you're a giver. Like, you are adamant about getting people, even if it's just little trinkets or whatever. Like, you want to get everybody something. So this is the season of giving back to John Bird. That's what this Christmas is. And wow, that was good.
Oh, if I can mention one more thing. I've decided that I want to, something I can sort of give back is I'm going to be doing a little live Christmas concert.
Okay.
For Over the Line. I haven't decided exactly when, but I want to be a live event, and it's something, it's something I can do, because it does. I beat myself up a lot.
Yeah, it'll bring the Christmas spirit.
Yep.
Like a rocket.
Yes, sir.
Like a red rocket. All right. Good stuff. Hey, tomorrow, Angry Carrie's going to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched that, it'll be available on the channel tomorrow. Y'all check that out. Thank y'all for hanging out. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. We love those comments. Y'all keep that up. And until next time.
Here it is. Oh, do a double.
I got Until next time. Circles!